Yeah, I got. Good morning. This is Merlin Gonzalez. Cold, wintry morning here in Noblesville, Indiana. And today is the 113th monthly table talk um, that we have established back in 2015. This is actually, it started as a in-person, before COVID, gathering of many different individuals, especially in the food access, realm. But with the COVID, what happened was that we went virtual, and then we stayed with virtual, which became really better for us because now we can reach more people rather than being contained in one room with 30 or 50 people. Now, many of you have been watching live, but at the same time watching the stream or maybe the rewind of the table talk. So today we're going to talk about partnership. But before we start, I would like to start first with word of prayer. Lord, we give you thanks today for this living in the greatest country in the world. Thank you, Lord, for the things you're doing in our lives and also for the lives of others. Thank you for entrusting us the things that you have called us to do. And we dedicate this day to you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so today we're going to talk about partnership. Partnership is very important, and that's at the core of Faith, Hope, and Love when we started back in 2005, which, as you know, that's the 20 years ago when the Lord founded Faith, Hope, and Love through me. Now, the things that we're going to talk about is about the simple beginning of faith, hope, and love from the partnership. So we partner a lot with churches and also even government institutions and also businesses and of course neighborhoods. So today we're going to talk to Autumn Lowry, and she's going to talk about the importance of partnership. And also, she's been a long time friend and partner with Faith, Hope, and Love. And I believe she has a lot to share with us as far as the partnership is concerned. So let me bring Autumn here. Hey, Autumn, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining me today. And we tell us more about yourself and your organization and what do you do.
So my name is Autumn Lowry. I'm the owner of From the Ground Up Foods. Um, so a little history. Somewhere along the line in life, I learned that I really enjoy gardening, um, and I was working as a service provider during COVID, and food access became really prevalent. As a case manager, I was going to food pantries and loading up my vehicle with food boxes to take to my clients, who either had transportation issues or other barriers to nutritious food. So, um, friend of mine, longtime colleague, took me to a property in the Meadows community in Indianapolis, which is definitely suffers from food insecurity. It's a food desert. And he said that asked me at this property if I would be able to start a community garden. And one thing led to another, and we started the garden. I started seeking out funding to support what we were trying to do. I started building partnerships in the community, and I formed my business From the Ground Up Foods to support the programming and operations. I partner with several churches, and we have different programs to address each community that we serve, their needs as far as food, nutrition. Everything we grow is not technically organic because that's a lot of work, but we are chemical free. We use natural fertilizer, and it's been a journey. And along the way, I met Merlin and Faith, Hope, and Love, and we shared a common goal. So it's been great partnering and working to support our communities together.
That's great. Thanks, Autumn.
Mhm.
Before we continue on, I have a lot of questions for Autumn, and for those of you who are just um, joining us. And also, if you watch the stream later on, you can still comment on Facebook, maybe even LinkedIn. We are live on LinkedIn and also YouTube. But let me just update you quickly with regards to what's happening at Faith, Hope, and Love. So it's been a busy month already. Towards the end of January, of course, we have sent a lot of letters and also thank you letters to our supporters, and they're giving statements, which is really that's necessary. And we partner with a friend of mine, an accountant. He has a CPA certificate in the past, and then now he has a master's degree in financial recording and everything. So he helps us in our year end, um, accounting and also reporting. Now, also, just first of this month, the big thing that I'd like to share with you is the graduation, the first graduation of Faith, Hope, and Love Academy, and we had three pastors who graduated, and also a church leader who graduated as a with an associate degree. And we are so proud of them. Being a pastor, especially in a small or medium-sized church, it takes a lot to do that, and with that, they really sacrifice in order for them to be able to finished the associate degree in what we call missional community development, and by the term missional, that means that it's more about engaging the community. It's by the community, for the community, and with the community, basically involving the local organizations, neighborhoods, maybe even local businesses and churches to help one another. So we graduated, and if you want to see more about that, we have a YouTube on the entire event that we had. But also at the same time, we had a shrink version, a summary of that. So that was on the first, but I want to plug in also on the 2nd of February, which is the following day. We had a great person that came over from Florida through Oregon, and we received our accreditation as a Christian university. That means that now we are accredited to offer degree, ministry degree in community development, also theology, and many other certificates that we can offer. So you can go to our website, Faith, Hope, Love that Academy. We will be updating that with when the next semester is going to start, and then also the different courses that we provide through Faith, Hope, and Love University. So we're very excited regarding that. So that's the accreditation. Actually, that was Monday the 3rd, but the following day after the graduation, which was Sunday, I was able to share a message of reviving, rekindling hope at one of the churches that we will be opening as a missional food pantry in the near future here. So I'd like to bring Autumn again, and we will talk more about the partnership. But so before I bring her in, she talks about uh, you know in the community, the Meadows community, and I think that's part of the Northeast Corridor. That's what they call here in Indianapolis, Northeast Corridor, and Indianapolis. And with that, there's an organization that I'm sure Autumn will share also, the United Northeast Community Development Center, which is she's part of that as well, and that's why she has a lot of partnerships in, especially in the Northeast corridor of Indianapolis. She mentioned also about gardening. I really love gardening to myself. Um, I don't have big garden, but just side garden for my tomatoes and different um, staples like onion and uh, peppers, lettuces, and all kinds of things. So I can't wait until we can start digging up the ground again, cultivating it, and at the same time start really seeing the garden start to grow. Autumn also talk about the neighborhood, you know, um, helping the neighborhood, and it's so good to hear how her organization started from helping other people during COVID-19 season or year, that she was going from one food pantry to another to provide um, food to other people, and that led to somebody offering her a challenge about having a garden, and then she was able to raise some funding, and through those funding, she's able to start her own business, which is called From the Ground Up Food. So I'm just waiting for Autumn here, so we can add her to the stage. But as let me, there she is. So Autumn, tell me more about, that's you were part of an organization, I assume, during COVID-19, and then you mentioned that you go from one food pantry to another to help deliver food. So, what was your motivation in doing that, especially during that challenging times? I'm sure that you yourself had some challenges during COVID-19. So, tell us more about that.
So during COVID, I was working for Horizon House, which is a homeless services agency. We um, did street outreach, so we would go out to camps, and we really increased the amount of food and supplies that we were distributing. And so through the street outreach team, and then also I was a housing case manager, and so once the clients were housed, we would provide services to them in home, and food was one of those services. And so they would want to go to the pantry, so we would go with them, or sometimes it was easier to just go and pick up the boxes. And so then they didn't have to worry about transportation and trying to figure out how to get to the pantries. So with that, and you know, seeing sometimes the quality of the food in the boxes was concerning. There were definitely times that, and produce will naturally go bad, but it's just, I want to, for me, I think it's important that everybody has access to healthy food. Your income shouldn't determine whether you're able to feed yourself nutritious food. So, um, a job opportunity came about in the Northeast Corridor. For United Northeast Community Development Corporation, I'm the quality of life community builder for the area. This opportunity was presented. and it was perfect because it was the area where my garden was starting, and so we launched a 3-year strategic planning committee to increase food access in our area, to pretty much rebuild the food ecosystem in our area. Um, and so that with that, we funded several organizations who are growers in the community, who the food pantry mission for restaurants and local food businesses. Um, so it was a great start. We got a grocery store out of it as well. Indie Fresh Market was part of that initiative. Um, there was no grocery store in the area other than Save a Lot, I believe, for a very long time. So this area was disinvested in significantly, and we're rebuilding. And I'm happy to be a part of the food justice movement in our city.
So you were a case manager, and then you became like part of community development in the Northeast area.
Mhm.
Tell me, as far as the importance of collaboration and partnership, especially in for-profit and even in the nonprofit world.
Sure. So, collaboration is important because, we're all trying to reach the same goals. And instead of, each, it's my dog. This is the dog that I found stray at the farm, and now he's mine. But um, so, we're all trying to reach the same goals. And instead of working in silos and everybody trying to reinvent the wheel, it makes more sense to partner, share resources in a cooperative way. And, I think it creates, for me, it's created a nice support system for my business because, as I'm sure many people know, farming is not a very lucrative industry. I didn't start a for-profit to make money. I started it to access, small business funding that would support what we're doing and be able to provide solid workforce development to my employees too. So, I think that um, our community is very active in a lot of ways, especially, the health department sits in our area. We have Eskenazi Health Center in our area. We have, some of the highest rates of chronic disease, um, heart disease, diabetes, and lower life expectancy rates than surrounding areas. So, I think groups like Diabetes Impact Project we work with, Faith, Hope, and Love. We do the meal kit program, and they, provide delivery service through DoorDash, and we're all just able to come together and make something happen for our community. So, um, if they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So that's what we are trying to do.
That's right. Yeah. You know what? Well, I'm a fan of yours. That's why we partnered together, and I have a lot to learn from you also, especially in the nonprofit world. I've been working in nonprofit with churches and other nonprofit organization, and it seems like there's so much competition going on in our communities. There was like at one point I heard of a story of one organization feeding a group of people, say in Indianapolis, and say, hey, those are my people. Why are you feeding them, and so on and so forth. Which is, again, that's a shame, but that's the truth. So from your point of view, that because it's different perspective in life. For some people, they just want to contain so that they keep it themselves, and then they think that they will grow that way, or maybe what they already have may be taken away from them. So from your perspective, how do you see these things happening, and avoid any jealousy, or maybe some things that you can share with other nonprofits, whether they are starting or already established nonprofit organizations.
So you talk about challenges. for nonprofits trying to work together. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, competition for resources is that's one factor. And I've seen a trend because I do a lot of grant writing for the business, and I've seen this trend in grant requests for proposals to collaborate. They want to see that you're putting together a project working with other agencies, and um, I think that maybe kind of can help address some of those challenges. But competition for resources, competition for people, people that we're trying to serve. So, um, I mean, it has its challenges. I'm a very empathetic, open, transparent person. And, as a business owner, I've had to learn, that sometimes it's best to keep some things to myself and work on them because, people will run away with your ideas.
Right.
So, um, but as long as everybody's working towards the same goal, I mean, it is what it is. But,
Right.
I have to learn how to be a smart business person too.
Yes, yeah. So with that, you mentioned something about competition of resources. Now, with the federal grants, right?
Mhm.
It's just being squeezed, and a lot of nonprofits are really struggling nowadays because of the changes in the system. Uh, so from the ground up, food is your own company,
Yes.
and a lot of companies there, they don't seem to understand that there are funding even for profit organization. Now, how did you find that out on your own, that there are grants, or there are resources from the government or other organizations that may be available for profit organization? How do you write the grant that this is not just for profit, but actually helping the community, or as you mentioned, to use the available resources for the community?
So yeah, so I first learned about it through the Equitable Food Access Initiative project. This was an opportunity for nonprofits, for profits, um, to receive funding. And so we started with that, and then I started looking into other opportunities for small businesses. I found Centers of Wellness for Urban Women, thankfully, and they have a program called Neighborhood Food Champions. Um, and they provided workshops to help people start their businesses or their food projects, and they provided a stipend and also grant writing resources. So there's a lot of small business grant support. There's also small business loans and things like that, but those can be challenging. And I know for me, that's my last resort if that I would have to take out a business loan. But they are out there, and there's other organizations right now working in our city to develop equitable loan programs for small businesses, where they're willing to finance a secured loan to support a small business, and help increase their credit value as well. So, I think on the flip side of that I didn't realize at first is you have to pay taxes as a for-profit business, and all of those grants are taxable. Um, so that's a factor that I have to consider, and that's why I work on projects to try to create additional residual income. So I'm not so reliant on the grants. Eventually, I would like to be grant free or start a nonprofit to kind of help with the tax issues. But there's a lot of resources out there. A lot of community development corporations have business entrepreneurship programs that can guide people through the process of grant writing, locating grants and resources, developing your business plan, um, marketing and advertising, all of that. So these resources are generally free to the public too. So I mean, awareness of what's out there helps. Um, so
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is has become more there's more support now than what there used to be, but people have to find it. So
Right, right. Now you started as a one person operation, is that correct? Somebody encouraged you and you had a vision, and tell us about from the ground up foods. Um, you mentioned earlier that access for funding to support your goal and also your employees. So what was, besides providing nutritious food to the community, what's your other motivation for starting this organization from the ground up's food?
I mean, the
You,
from the
you
ground
mentioned
up,
that it's not a lucrative job, lucrative business, right?
yeah. Um,
So
well,
there must be some deeper
yeah, yeah.
thing.
So the name came about a, a decade ago when I met Pastor Danelle Howard of Hovey Street Church of Christ, and he took me to his church. They had a vacant lot they had purchased and wanted a community garden there. And somehow the name From the Ground Up Foods came to my mind, and I just put it on the back burner, registered it, and then 10 years later, same pastor takes me to a new space and would like a community garden there as well. And I think that, our food, our nutrition comes from the ground up, but I also like to build people up. So, there's in farming and gardening, we're planting seeds not just in the ground, but in people. I've had employees that we assist with housing resources. I utilize my case management background. Have a employee who is on disability, and I've been able to help him manage his paperwork and balance his finances with the disability so it doesn't mess up his benefits. Transportation, provided bus passes until people get a car. Just, I feel like the people in that community that need employment, they need help with other things too. And, I feel like it's important to invest in my employees in that way.
Yeah, you know what? That's very um, honorable to really be part of a solution, even for one person or for a community. You mentioned about starting with the church. The pastor had given you, this name, and then the land came in, and these are all has something to do about partnership. So, and then the transportation, the housing, the employment for your employees, and for Faith, Hope, and Love, that's the first thing that we talk about is building trust. It's not just giving away food, just like what you're doing. It's more than just like planting, and then you can give maybe salary, or maybe have salary for your employees, or help them in the transportation or housing. But beyond that is you're building the trust, and then once the trust happens, then you have more partnership that happens, because I think it's just human nature. I won't partner with a person that I don't trust, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what you're building, is that the trust system. So in the topic that we're talking about today, which is partnership, the trust need to be established first. So let's break this down a little bit, Autumn, and let me know if you don't want to go this road, right? But so how do you build trust, or um, how do you engage people in trusting you, or you trusting them? It's just like chicken and egg, right? You trust
Hmm.
the person first, or the person needs to trust you first. So how does that dynamics work in your world?
I think it's a very real issue, especially in communities that have been disinvested in. there's a lot of distrust for nonprofit organizations in general, and the only thing I can do is attraction rather than promotion. I show up consistently. They've watched my farm grow over the years. I go to community meetings. When I'm consistently in the community working with people, and advocating for them, it builds trust. Um, and when I'm able to actually deliver on the commitments that I've said I would complete, that also builds trust. Just like the equitable food access people reaching out now, like, we want to talk about your success with the funding that we gave you. Um, that builds, and then building trust with institutional partners too. When they can also see that our work is solid, and we're producing the intended results, people want to come work with us and help us on the way. So I think building trust is really important, especially in the direct neighborhood. We've got a new walking trail feature and meditation labyrinth. I'm really excited about getting the community into the space even more, and trusting that it's a safe space that they can come and enjoy some physical and mental health wellness. Um, so
So if it's not the money that you will be making, it's more, what I hear from you is that helping the community, helping the underserved individual, and guiding them, creating this labyrinth and other things. So tell us a little bit about your early years, maybe, when you were growing up, or in high school or college, or whatever it is, that your formative years that brought you to where you are right now.
it's so interesting because I think reflecting now, I didn't realize it at the time, but like, there were definitely touch points in my life that led to where I am. I remember my grandpa always had a big garden in his backyard, and we would go up there and play. I would go up there a lot more than my cousins.
Wow.
And I have pictures of him, in his overalls working in the garden. And I'm like, that's where it started. And when I was 14, I got a job, um, working for Pioneer Seed Company as a corn detasseler.
Wow.
So I was out in the cornfields at 14 and 15, already working, already farming in some way. So, um, college, when I went to school for anthropology, and we did a lot of uh, community field work, applied anthropology. Um, and so, we talked to people in the community. We worked with neighborhood associations. We put together a book that for the neighborhood that featured stories, history, photos that they had brought us. That was community building at the time. I didn't realize, but it's just everything just kind of fell in line. And then I got a random job at one point around the holidays decorating Christmas trees, and they also took care of plants in office buildings. So I started doing that, um, and learned about the Master Gardener program at Purdue Extension. So I said, well, I could do that maybe, and I did that. And so I just, kind of along the way equipped myself to do what I'm doing. And it's I'm always still learning. I'm always doing programs, workshops, um, because there's just, I mean, gardening is, you never know everything. So,
Yeah.
um, so,
Yeah.
and collaborating with other people in the food system too. I do a lot of work with several of the food system organizations and agencies to try to address systemic issues, and build up our system the way it should be to support everybody. So yeah, it all.
That's great. You talk about collaborating to understand the systemic issue, and I think that's one of the things that for nonprofit or any organization for profit that we really need to collaborate. We need to partner because at the end of the day, we really cannot do it on our own. Providing solutions or even uncovering the problems, the issues, just like the systemic issues that's going on out there. And with Faith, Hope, and Love, as you well know, for us, it's not just about food. Although food is very important, especially the quality of food, and that's why we partner with your organization, with your company from the grounds up to provide healthy and nutritious food. But at the same time, also, I was there. I'm glad that was able to visit with you and also with Keisha, our United Food Missions team, through the Dip In project, which is Diabetes Impact Project, Indianapolis, through Indiana University, and that's another partnership. And I believe through you that we were, of course, we wrote the grant, but I think through you also that we were able to secure the grant to continue that because of what we've done in the past with you, and then now more elaborate things that we do. So besides with what you're doing, what else do you do, Autumn, in your free time? Yeah, yeah.
Free time. What is
It is the
that?
same reaction I got from you last Saturday when I asked you what do you do besides gardening, doing the business, and then your nonprofit thing.
I love dogs and I love Jeeps. And so um, I like to go off roading with my Jeep. A lot of times it puts me right in the middle of nature. So I'm foraging while I'm out there. And, it's a fun experience. And I don't know, I've always, dogs are kind of like my emotional support.
Yeah.
And,
So
I
yeah,
just,
I saw your Jeep when we went to the LISC meeting last week, and I was just like, whose pink Jeep is this? And then later on, I saw you out in the parking lot, and that was you. So I just want to lighten this up a little bit. Did you had it paint, or that's the original paint of that Jeep?
that's the color. That's the original. They in 2022 released a limited edition of this color, and it's the name is Tuscadero Pink after Pinky Tuscadero from Happy Days.
Wow, I didn't know. I thought you painted it, but
Now,
I didn't know that that's limited edition then, huh?
uh-huh.
So for those of you listening, if you like Pink Jeep, it's gonna be a classic one of these days. So just contact Autumn.
Yeah.
Before we end our conversation here, I'd like to give Keisha and all nations and maybe other people who are watching us to if they have any questions to me, to Autumn, you can just put that on the comment side, and we see that Autumn sees that, and we can address your questions, or maybe even ideas or encouragement or comments. So just let us know. We have a few more minutes here before we end this program. um, Let me just go back to my notes here. So, Autumn, you mentioned about farming. What's your goal in the next 5 years for the grounds up foods?
Well, I mean, we're definitely expanding this year significantly. We're maxing out the space at our farm. I was given a vacant lot by by UNEC, by the company I work for. So we're going to break ground on that here soon, and have a new partnership with another pastor, and they happen to have about 4 to 5 acres of land that he wants to use to grow food. So I hope to just continue expanding and being able to provide food. I'd like to um, increase the work that we're able to do with institutional buyers like schools and maybe hospitals. Um, and just really be able to be a self-sustaining business that is supporting the community at the same time.
That's great. Wow, and I heard that word again, partner, with a church and also a nonprofit organization with regards to this 4 to 5 acres that you will be cultivating. Is that going to start this year, or
Yes.
okay? And it's in the same area, I would say, Northeast Corridor.
No, it's actually it's on the southeast. It's the Southeast Neighborhood Development Corporation. He's right outside of it, um, on Southeastern Avenue, which is weird, but yeah. So it's kind of like out towards Wanamaker a little bit, Brookville
Okay.
Road.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're looking forward to hearing more about the development there. So we have a couple questions here from all nations. How would a church partner to give food to their neighborhood? I can take that, but do you have any suggestions or any answer with that question?
What was it? I'm sorry.
How would a church partner to give food to their neighborhood?
Well, actually, we're the local food purchase agreement is a program that we are working through the state Department of Health. We have several local farmers that they purchase our produce, and then they distribute it to pantries. So we have expressed as a group of farmers that we want that food to go back into the communities that we're trying to serve. So if depending on the area that your community is in, if you can find a local grower, and they can add your church to the list, we can try to make sure that happens this year. That's our goal, is to hit our local pantries with the food that they're buying from us, so that it goes back to the community. So, or you can reach out to me. I can help you get connected to other people through that program. And I don't know if I can put my email and stuff in the chat. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you can put your email there. While you're doing that, I'd like to address that also. How a church partner to give food to their neighborhood. One thing is that not all church need to have food pantry, right?
Mm.
So it's hard to start a food pantry. Although if you are a church, just like all nations is saying here, faith, hope, and love. That's what we do. Is that we teach neighborhood churches to start a missional food pantry. Missional being again engaging the community, partnering, collaborating, and engagement of the neighborhood to be part of the solution. So we can teach you. Again, that's what we do. The main thing is starting a missional food pantry. So you can contact us regarding that. And then also, you mentioned some. You know what? Another thing, if you don't want to have a food pantry, I encourage churches to partner with other churches or other organizations who have food pantry. All you have to do is just put a box, big box at the end of your hallway at the church after service. You tell people, hey, put canned goods there, or whatever it is. You can write checks also, as what Autumn had mentioned. It's expensive to grow nutritious food, and many times you have to buy them. So you can write checks to food pantries. You can call Autumn and write maybe $10,000 check for to provide food, nutritious food through faith, hope, and love to the neighborhood. And then so that's those are just a couple of things that you can do. And offer classes, I think I already answered that. um, do you offer classes, Autumn, or what is
We
that?
do. We host the church youth for summer camps in the summertime, and then we do workshops here and there, wellness workshops, gardening workshops. This year, we're putting together right now. We're putting together a series of workshops that will use our walking trail, the new meditation labyrinth, and then of course the garden space to create some healthy, fun activities, support chronic disease prevention in that process. Herbal wellness, we've got herbal wellness practitioners. Um, so just we're looking forward to really doing more programming. Once we get our funding, to having more programming this year.
You know
And
what
then
I mean?
there's also other groups that do some really good educational workshops as well.
Okay. All right. Now I got your chat here. Let me go ahead and put that here. You don't mind if I put that publicly, right? Your
No,
contact information.
not at all.
Okay. All right. Um, Autumn, it's great to have you. I learned a lot, and it's an honor to work alongside you. That's my heart. Also, is to help the underserved, and what the term that I'm using now is to help the underserved nonprofit organizations, and help the underserved food pantries, which means that a lot of things, the neighborhood based food pantries, which are small to medium size. Nothing against the big ones, that those are great. They are like the wholesalers, but the small to medium size food pantries and churches, I would say, really know more about their neighborhood because it becomes more one on one. And going back to what we were talking about, Autumn, is that you start building trust one person at a time, not just like, hey, I'd like to feed 100, 200 people this week, and then that's it, because food, as we all know, it will go away in a week or maybe a few days. But the seed that you plant in people's heart, the trust, the dignity, and how you treat other people, lasts longer than a few bags of food. So, Autumn, do you have any last thing that you would like to share? Comments, encouragement?
I just would share that it's an honor to work with you as well. I learned from you also. You and Keisha are a great team, and uh, I look forward to growing more with our partnership.
That's wonderful. Well, that's it for now. Next month we will be doing our the March. Oh, it's the same date. March 13 is our next table talk, and you may contact me. I put my contact information there, whether it's learning how to establish a food pantry, a missional food pantry, learn more about the university that we have, the academy that we have. We are an accredited university for the entire nation. Also, if you do have any questions as far as more about partnership, um, Autumn's email and phone number is on the chat box here, and then also my contact information. So, Autumn, thank you so much. I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and end this in prayer. Lord Jesus, we thank you for today. Thank you for the opportunity that you have provided for us, for the trust that you have entrusted us to serve you and to represent you in our community, in our neighborhoods. Pray, Lord, that you provide, Lord, the resources that we need, not just for ourselves, Lord, but especially, Lord, for the people that we serve and the people who are underserved, Lord, because we know that they are close to your heart. pray for your guidance, wisdom as we continue on the work that you have called us to do. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, Tatum, it's good talking to you. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Take
All right.
care.
Okay. Bye.